What's up, guys? Today we're going to do a Louis Vuitton times Supreme van here. We got the all black with the white stripe van, just the classic. But it's going to be a kind of a time processing project, but let's get on into it. First, I like to take the acetone every single part of the shoe that I'm going to be painting on, and really make sure you acetone the soles really good because paint don't really adhere to that already as it is, and just acetone helps it adhere a little better. But we're going to tape off the sole first. I got the Scotch, uh, the automotive tape, pretty strong tape. It's probably my favorite tape. I've tried out a lot of different tapes, and even though it's costly tape, it's worth it. But we're going to tape it off, make sure that we get it real close to the sole so no overspray goes anywhere on the shoe. And paper towel it up top. Use some cheap tape just to make sure that no overspray gets on any other part of the top shoe. But we're going to take our stencils here. Now you can use transfer paper, but I don't really care to use transfer paper because I like to put certain stencils in certain spots. I think it makes the shoe turn out a lot better. But it is more of a time-consuming way of putting your stencils. But in the long run, I think it pays off. But we're just going to stencil the entire sole here, and once we got that done, this is what it looks like. So you can really spread out different kinds of the stencils and put them in different spots. But I'm going to take my heat gun. Taking your heat gun just helps make that stencil stick to whatever you put it on. And I just like to press, then make sure that it's really stuck down to the sole of the shoe. So then whenever you're taking your airbrush and you're painting on it, that the paint isn't leaking out onto the sides. Now I did skip ahead, sorry about that, but always use light coats. I can't stress that enough. Light coats make the difference of your shoe turning out perfect and your shoe turning out like crap. At least that's what I think, especially with these kinds of stencils. There's a lot of stencils, so a lot of room for error. But we're just going to put even coats along the entire sole of this shoe, and make sure that it turns out pretty good that way. But yeah, as you can see, as I'm painting these, that I do want it to be a dark shade of red, so of course more coats means darker it's going to be. And just try to get that even spray over where you're painting. And also whenever you're using your airbrush, make sure that you're not tipping it like upside down or at the side. You kind of want it to be head on with the stencil, because if you're spraying it from the side, then that paint can get under the stencil, and then that just ruins the spot that you're painting. But if you just keep that gun straight right at the stencil, then it turns out a lot better that way. At least that's what I've found out. But we're just going to spray it here, and once we get that done, I'll be taking the heat gun here and just giving it a final heat just to dry it. Sorry, I did kind of cut it out of the shot, but here we go. We're going to take the stencils off. Now, again, it is a time-consuming process taking stencils off, but you got to be patient with it, because if you pull too hard, too fast, then If your paint's not fully dry yet, then you can peel some of that paint up with it. You just got to take your time, be real slow with it. But as you can see, there's really no paint really got under any part of the stencils here. It is kind of blurry, apologize for that, but they did turn out about the best that you can hope for. But we're going to take our tape off here, and then we're going to start onto the stripe of the shoe after we get this tape off. The sole definitely is the hardest part on this custom, just because all the stencils. The stripes are just way easier, but we're going to get this tape off and then just start taping up the stripe. Make sure, especially on these kinds of Vans, you're able to peel that stripe up. By peeling it up, you're able to get your tape under it, and then it turns out about perfect for you. So then you have no overspray anywhere. But just going to pat down the tape there, make sure it's all sealed up. Take our stencils again. And just place one by one onto the stripe. Now I'm not putting these stencils, not putting each stencil exactly where it should go. I mean, it's your choice. You can put whatever you want. You can put the little ninja star looking stencil in the right corner, or you could put it in the left. I mean, it really don't matter. But as long as what you think turns out looks cool. And every single shoe that I do of these, they all turn out, I mean, they're not identical to each other either. They all have different, all the stencils are in different spots than the next shoe would be, or so on. But we're going to take our airbrush. Right here you can definitely see light coats. Light coats. It's always the best, especially when working with these kinds of stencils. But we're just going to keep airbrushing. Light coats. I'd probably roughly 4 to 6 coats. I mean, it is the leather part of the shoe. Now if you're on the rubber like the sole, you might want a couple more coats, just because paint don't like to adhere to rubber that well. That's why you have to acetone it real good. And you can use like a bulldog, that bulldog spray that kind of helps make the paint stick a little better. But we're just gonna kind of skipped ahead, but pretty much did that exact same way on the other side of the stripe there. But now we're just going to take our tape off of everything, and then we'll see what it turned out to be. But now you can, I will show you here that I do use a scratch resistor. And what I've found is on the scratch resistor is that it's meant to be putting between coats. So like, put a coat down of paint, put a coat down of scratch resistor, paint, scratch resistor, paint, scratch resistor, and then that's the best. But with these types of stencils, it likes, whenever you take the stencil off, that scratch resistor likes to pull off the rest of the paint too, not just the stencil. So it is, for these kind of custom, I don't like to do that method with the scratch resistor. But here, as you can see, just spots where that tape covered up, I'm just taking my little paintbrush, just freehanding it. I mean, it's not that difficult. Just do a couple coats where you see some whites, and then here is the scratch resistor. But I have found that I do my best to try to keep it so then if you drag your toe or whatnot, that you don't peel the paint off. And I have found, if at the very end, if you take the scratch resistor and you put about 2-3 coats of it on, I mean, it does do a decent job, but it's not the type of job that if you do the paint scratch. But Here is the final step, and we're just using the Krylon matte finish. But here is the final product. Turned out pretty well. If you guys liked the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.